Well, good evening, everybody, and good morning or good afternoon, wherever in the world you are. I know I have my special guest, Bradley Johnson, with me today from Spooky2. Very excited to have you with us today, Bradley. Thank you so much for joining us. I know I think, morning for you. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me here on Aquarius Rising Africa. How are you doing?
I am wonderful today. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Day or night, I'm just excited to be here.
Honestly, I have to say, and I know we've had a short chat off air now, and I am so impressed with Spooky2. I really, really am. And for our viewers, you guys might remember I did two interviews actually with John White, who's the creator of these amazing energy machines, Rife machines. And he had some incredibly interesting things to talk about, natural health, all of that. Then I was lucky enough to be gifted your little mini magic, the Myromate mini magic machine. And I received it just over a week ago. And I want to and obviously you know better, but I would just like to speak to our viewers from my experience. What an incredible little thing this is, Bradley, because you're a trainer for Spooky2 as well. And I know we're going to go into how it all works, and you're going to give us a lot of intel. But this little thing is actually just more specifically for pain areas. And you can put the coils on pain areas. And it's amazing. It's the size of a computer mouse. And you can clip it to your bag. So you can put a battery in it, walk around with it the whole day. Or it's got a cord that you can connect to electricity. And you can have it from the power as well. But I have to tell you, my mom, she's been using it for about 5 days now. And she had a finger that could not move. And she's generally in very, very good health. She's in her early 80s. One of her fingers could not move. After a night of putting this on, for the first time in a decade, she can move her fingers. Not only that, what really impressed me, and over the next few days, she placed it on her bladder, her back, and within a few hours, she was fine. But more than anything, I got to see how her energy changed. Yep. It's like she lost 10 years overnight, which was incredible. And then it got me thinking, obviously, and I know you guys use very specific energies in your machines. So obviously you're going to talk about that, which I'd love to hear about as well. But it made me think that with these little things, if it's not a serious condition, right? Let's say you might have a bit of arthritis or something, and I don't have pain, so I'm pretty much in good health. If just someone like myself had to have one of these little machines, the little mini magic, clip it to your belt, walk around, maybe just buzz yourself for an hour or two every day, this could be the best preventative healing frequency medicine available to us. I don't know why. I just think that is an incredible opportunity. I think obviously if people have more serious conditions like cancer or lupus, then they definitely need to go for the more specifically targeted, bigger generators, definitely. But I think for someone who's in good health, no specific issues, I would highly recommend that people all have one of these, just as a little energy frequency medicine maker, preventative thing for everyone, the whole family, everyone, cats, animals, everything. It works on everything. It's amazing. So I know I've now blabbered on long enough. Bradley, over to you. And please just tell us a little bit about yourself as well. I know you're one of the trainers from Spooky2, and you've got some incredible knowledge on energy medicine, and I'd love to hear more.
Yes. So again, my name is Bradley Johnson. I am a certified Spooky2 trainer based out of the U.S. I am also a holistic frequency practitioner. That's my normal day-to-day. My goal and job is to try to help people by helping raising their vibrational frequencies and by helping identify and remove the issues and problems that people have in their life by use of frequencies. And just like what you were talking about, and as we mentioned earlier, with the bodies being made up of so much water, when we're hydrated, we are basic superconductors. And so when you start introducing things like products like the Mini Magic, which is just something very simple and easy, you can simply clip this onto you. You can adjust the certain power levels for the microcurrents that you want. And then you have the ability to basically place the coils anywhere on the body that, is your ache, your pain, signaling, any type of issues. These are ideal for, being able to click and bring with you, or as you were talking about, using them preventative. But as a frequency practitioner, the microcurrents, these are for more, again, preventative measures or treating like minors, stuff like that, where you don't have the ability to use the software systems that Spooky2 brings to customize and to really narrow down the specific things that you're trying to target. Again, as a practitioner, I've been using frequencies, and I've been using and working with Spooky2 since 2016, is when I bought my first XM unit. And the XM, is just a simple generator. So unlike the microcurrents of this, the XM generator is something simple and easy. This is a little device that when you hook this up to your computer and run with the Spooky2 software, now you have options for over 60,000 different frequencies that you can now bring directly into the body through different methods of application. The most common is the remote. The remote is very simple. You can simply put your own DNA inside of this, and this will work anywhere in the world. It uses quantum entanglement. So the process of quantum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me just hold the phone for a moment, please. Let me just process what you're telling me. You are telling me that you put a sample of your own DNA in that little thing. What is that little thing?
This little thing is called a Spooky2 remote. So a remote allows you to, again, take a DNA sample similar to like a fingernail, and put that fingernail inside the remote here, where these coils, have a scalar design to them. When you then bring and hook this thing up to the generator and bring the frequencies in, this acts as a bonded antenna to your body. So whatever DNA structure that you put into the sample, when you're running different frequency programs and it's impacting that DNA on a quantum level, those are impacting your body and yourself in real time.
Wow. This is incredible. I mean, yes. I had no idea about that, actually. I mean, I've been reading up and I've been looking up on your products, and I love just the way that you guys talk about the way you've created the frequencies, because they're designed to mimic nature. So it's like the frequencies of nature moving through your body, as opposed to... Sorry, carry on.
Right. That's exactly right. Like a lot of the times when people are suffering from specific things, whether it be one thing or another, that is a low vibrational threat that is in their body. So when you're talking about the ability to use natural frequencies from the earth, like a Schumann resonance, or what's considered the earth's frequency, now you can reintroduce that into your body to help remove the things that shouldn't be there. The methodology for how you use specific frequencies is the sky is the limit. Like when you've got a database with over 60,000 frequencies, it's a matter of waking up and saying, oh, well, how do I feel today? Let's find these programs and run them. And you can take your entire day back.
That is absolutely incredible. I'm interested, and I'm not sure if you can answer. If you can't, no problem. How did you guys come up with these frequencies? How did you manage to divinely understand that because I know there are many creators of these types of machines, but yep. You guys seem to have nailed it with getting the right frequency. Tell me about that.
So Spooky2 is unique because, again, with the software, when you download the free software and you're running that on a Windows-based system and you're using these types of generators, you have the combination of all these databases that have been collected for nearly over 100 plus years. A gentleman named Dr. Royal Rife is basically the founder of all this with regards to how and his advancements. And what he did is he took a microscope that was large enough to be able to see samples under live observation. And then as he played frequencies, he started to realize what, frequencies cause these certain cells to interact. but they only interacted with the specific low vibrational threats. So, for example, different viruses, pathogens, bacteria, all of those have a specific, what Rife referred to as a mortal oscillatory rate, or a rate at which it's going to cause something to shake. And when he simply adjusted the amplitude, that caused that harmful cell to break and completely destroy itself, while all the other healthy cells around it remained completely intact. So for years, Rife documented what Moore rates took on what. And coming into the early 1930s, now he started working with the cancer institutes, and they're doing cancer-based studies out of, California, where they were treating people with stage 4 cancer using Rife, frequency therapy options. And all of this, the ability to kind of how different, machines work, they're all, this is just a frequency generator. So it's going to allow you to gain access into that database. And now the collection of these databases that Spooky have will allow you to go in. And as I mentioned, the sky is truly the limit. You can search for certain medications. You can search for issues, ailments, any virus, any pathogen that you're looking to remove from the body because it is a low vibrational threat. You can use these frequency devices for doing that. And all it breaks down to is using the generators, using the software to go in and select the right programs, and then using the accessories for how you apply those frequencies to the body, whether that be through remotes or via contact or cold laser, PEMF coil, plasma, scalar. All of these options are methods for how you deliver these frequencies to the body.
Wow. I want to just say to our viewers as well, just before I go on to my next question, if you guys are interested in ordering these incredible machines, I know Mornay can drop the link in the comments section there. If you use my name, Chantal, as your code, today from this live talk, Spooky2 is offering 6% discount on any machines ordered from this live talk. Otherwise, 5% discount, but always use my name as a code. And then honestly, guys, this to me is incredible. What I saw happen with my mother these past few days, and that is just with a tiny one. And that is what I'm saying to you. This is incredible information. And what you were saying earlier on, Bradley, as well, and I agree, as a healer, I understand the importance of water and hydrating the body, because energy moves 4 times faster through water than what it does through air, actually. So tell us about, let's say we have a very ill body. That is someone who's, let's say, got stage 4 cancer and who's deciding they want to come off chemo and radiation and stuff like that, and they want to try these products, the energy medicine, as I call it.
Yep.
What would you advise people? How? They obviously need to prepare the body as well. You've got to take responsibility as a human being from your side. So what do people need to do to get the best result from the Spooky2 machines?
Okay, well, let's start like what I did personally. Like when I first started working with Spooky2, I had made a list for myself where I prioritized all my health and issues, medications I was on, prescriptions I was taking, every, issue that I was currently working with in my life. And I used the Spooky2 systems as a means for working my way through that list. Normally when you're rifing or when you're using frequency therapy, you want to build a list, and then as you prioritize that list, if you've got 4 or 5 major things, you don't normally want to just jump right in and start hitting that number one thing. Now, you start at the bottom and you work your way up, and that helps raise the vibrational frequency of your cells. It helps boost your body's white blood cell count and helps raise the body's natural immune system. But as you start, identifying specifically what it is that you're addressing, it comes down to 2 real easy and simple questions. Are you healing or are you killing? And when you build these types of programs, something like what you mentioned with cancer is a pathogen. That's something in the body that you can target the exact frequency of that cancer and use devices to apply those frequencies to the body. So particularly with cancers, as I mentioned, in most instances, 95% of the time, you have to start from the bottom and work your way up. However, when you're dealing with cancer, you don't have the time or the availability to kind of put everything else on the side. You have to kind of go right at it and jump right in. And the
Yeah.
method for how these frequency systems allow that is based off of the different efficiency levels, like the remote, the plasma, the contact, the PEMF. These are all different ways of how frequencies are applied to the body. But particularly when you're dealing with something like cancer, you need something that's very powerful, high strength. That's where something like this, the use of a plasma bulb, comes into place, because now you can use a plasma system to introduce those frequencies into the body, particularly when you're addressing something that's currently you're fighting or that's killing you, like cancer. One of these systems, once you start using it and setting it up and running through the specific cancer protocols, it's designed to help break down and remove those cells that are harming your body's immune system. And so as you do that and as you break them down, you have to, use this as a balancing act. You can't just go right in and start attacking cancer and not detox. And as you kind of
Sure.
mentioned, everything has to be prepped before you go in there. So as you start getting, into this process and things start breaking down inside and you're feeling the results of these programs working, the use of how you apply those frequencies to the body is what is so key with everything. Whereas, for example, if you're using, something like this, which is considered a plasma tube, it's going to use a helium gas exchange, and that's going to process and, penetrate through the body much, much more effectively than even just something like a regular coil-based system where you're using coils to penetrate through the skin. That is a more amplified method for going after specific diseases like Lyme, Morgellons, cancer, these heavy hitters in the body that you have to, be very, very, very effective at balancing and breaking down and removing. Spooky2 brings a whole range of different products and means for how you use those frequencies to effectively break down and remove the stuff out of your body that you don't want.
It's amazing. Can you explain to us how that works? Because I was actually reading that it kind of goes in and reverses out, right? So the frequency goes in and reverses out. I'm not quite sure if I was understanding it correctly. So it kind of cleans it and then it goes in again.
So for example, like every specific thing cell-wise in your body that is not supposed to be there is going to have a low vibrational frequency, versus your healthy cells are all going to be resonating at a level much higher than the lower ones that are infected, cancer, viruses, pathogens, bacteria. What happens is when you use these devices to go into their software and select the specific programs of the things that shouldn't be there, those frequencies, when they hit the body, are going to resonate, and they're going to cause those cells and only those cells to break down.
Yeah.
Okay. And then as you process those out, then all of a sudden you start feeling better. Like a perfect example of this, for years, my wife had severe carpal tunnel syndrome from typing so much. And we used to buy braces and ointments, wraps, all kinds of things for her. I used one cold laser therapy session for 30 minutes with a carpal tunnel program, and she's never used a brace since.
Wow. I was actually going to ask you if you could share with us some of your success stories from some of your, I mean, obviously nothing specific, but just what you've seen in your patients or your clients that you've been working with in the last few years.
This is the ability to work with frequencies and to help others has been the most rewarding, part of my life. I wake up every single day incredibly happy and thankful for not only the opportunity to help people, but also to help train others. There's nothing secretive about what I've done and the successes that I've had. Everyone can do them. If you simply understand how the technology works and you put everything together, when you put it in, the results, come through for themselves. Some of the, and again, I've worked with well over 200 people in the last year and a half, specifically just focusing on issues and ailments of one or another kind. And every single one of them, we've had successes. There's not been a single one that we haven't had a success rate with. However, some of the most intense would be, I've used a Spooky2 scalar system, and I have successfully cured a morphine addict that was taking morphine for 15 years and 6 months cold, no withdrawal.
Wow.
No.
How do you explain that? Can you explain that?
Yes. Like what I did is when I first started working with her, I simply was using her DNA in multiple remotes. I was running programs to help emulate certain frequencies into her body, and also using different remotes to balance her withdrawal symptoms. And so when we were using these frequency systems, it allowed us to then start tapering her down. So versus the 4 or 5 medications she was taking a day, when you were running these programs, now all of a sudden she only needed 4 or she only needed 3. So as we worked her way down, her body was detoxing out her tolerance levels that she had built up over the years. Like she had taken so many medications that if she wasn't on a medication for more than 2 hours, she was hurting. And over a 24-hour period of time, every single day, that is a lot of medications to be pumping into the body. So it took us some time to kind of lower down her tolerances, where she was taking 5 pills to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1. And then when we got down to 1 pill, we were using the Spooky2 scalar system, and we were setting her pill and medication on the receiver coil. She was sitting in between that case and just letting the process happen for 20 to 30 minutes. She emulated the effectiveness of that pill in her body. That triggered the same endorphin release as it would have had she taken the medication, only she didn't have to take it. So after only 20 or 30 minutes of sitting in between these cases, now all of a sudden she feels like she's got that endorphin release. She can get up and start going about her day. But the pill goes back in a bag that she never took, And so as you work through that tolerance and break down, those previous medications, whatever the substance is that was in the body, I did the exact same thing with myself. Depression, anxiety medications, anybody that's specifically linked to something that they want to break themselves free of, this is a full approach, but you have to mentally be ready to do that.
Exactly.
I give everyone the exact same analogy. If somebody knocks on my door and they say, hey, I need your help stopping smoking. I've tried this, I've tried that. I just can't do it. I need your help. That's somebody I can work with. They've come to that mental, conclusion in their mind that this isn't good for me and I'm ready to move away from it.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone knocks on my door and I open the door and they're smoking a cigarette and they're like, hey, I heard you do frequencies, I need help smoking, I'm not going to be able to help that person. They haven't mentally committed to the fact that they are ready to stop, and so everything is connected as one. But when you use the right frequencies to balance the things that aren't supposed to be in your body out, it changes your life. And now all of a sudden you have control over your own quality of life.
So what you're really telling us is that if we have to put these machines or the system specifically that you've just been speaking about in rehab centers, we probably have a whole lot of empty rehab centers, assuming people are mentally ready to make that shift, right? Because we understand, obviously, that has to be the case. People have got to want to do it.
I'll do you one better. You don't even have to take this into a rehab system. You can take this into your home. You can do this at home. You can do this for your friends, for your family, no different than I did. When I started this thing several years ago, that's the first thing I did was start running things on my family members. Hey, how do you feel when I ran this overnight? Or how was your dreaming? Or how was this? I collect very detailed feedback from everyone I run frequency programs on. And that has helped me narrow down the right ones.
What machine are we talking about now? The one that you're running all these fancy things on. What is that called?
This is the Spooky2 XM generator. This is a very, very, very cost-efficient generator. You can normally order this thing, and most people that when they start getting into buying generators, I tell them to purchase the kit, because kits normally will have all the different accessories, the little things that you need, the remotes, the, hand cylinders, the coils, options and methods for how you deliver frequencies to your body. But when you're trying, let's say, for example, you're trying to help family members and your family doesn't live so close to you. Now, all of a sudden, if they simply send you a remote, you can put a fingernail inside the remote and run frequency programs for them from afar. I do this for clients all over the country. On average, I have between 25 and 35 clients a month that all run off of remote-based frequency programs that they have issues, they have problems with. They send me a text, they send me an email, they call me. I adjust programs in the database accordingly. And as those, for example, I have a client that I'm running programs for. The other night, she called me in the middle of the night at like 12 o'clock my time. And she said, I have a killer migraine coming on. I said, no problem. Give me one moment. I came in and I adjusted a couple different migraine-based programs. I built an hour and a half long program. I said, this program that I built should run about an hour and a half. Keep me posted as to how you're feeling. And within 2 hours, she texted me back and said, my migraine's gone. Thank you so much. You know, it's an open communication between everybody, but when you're using the right frequencies, you know, as I try to tell everyone, what I'm doing in the house and what I'm doing with, you know, with all these people, you know, this is nothing secretive. You can do all of these things yourself at home. And this is a very cost efficient solution to being able to bring a frequency, you know, Rife generator type means for how you produce frequencies like what Rife used into the house.
So I just want to understand that correctly. That little remote thing has to have the person's DNA in it. So what, do you send that thing to them?
No, they would just send me a fingernail.
Okay, so they send you something, okay, and then you pop it in there, and then you adjust, and you kind of know what. Does the machine tell you what they need? So do you set it according to the machine's needs, or their needs from what the machine tells you?
Each individual person is going to be different. So, you know, when you get the DNA, the programs that you design, you have the ability to go in and customize specifically. So if someone says, well, I've got this, and these, like I said, make that list, and they've got 4 or 5 things on that list, I'm going to go through and prioritize that list into what types of programs and what frequencies they're going to need to help working them off of those 4 things.
Wow, that's incredible. You've been a trainer, and you are a trainer for Spooky2 as well. So what does that entail? I mean, do you help people set up businesses? Obviously, are there people that are wanting to set up businesses with this? How does this work? What do you train people on?
So my goal and my purpose right now, I'm driven to help people. And being a certified Spooky2 trainer, that helps me, you know, train people. I do training all over the country, from Australia, you know, New Zealand, all the way to Hawaii, China, you name it. I've done training in those time zones. The goal, though, is, as I mentioned before, you know, when you can pass this information on to others with regards to how to use these same exact systems in their house, you know, regardless of what they're using them for, you know, knowing how to use them efficiently is what makes people successful with using them. And so, you know, buying the device is one thing. Having the device is great, but if you don't know or understand how to use it, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And that's where I come in. You know, my goal as a Spooky2 trainer is to try to help people understand what I know from being a 16-year radio frequency engineer. You know, I've been blessed, like the background and training that I've had for this. God put me on the right path early in my life, and that made me ready for this with regards to knowing and understanding waveforms and frequencies and how they impact the body. And so, like I said, when you jump into doing this, knowing and understanding how to use them successfully changes the game.
I think, I mean, it sounds like it's, as you say, it changes the game. Allopathic medicine out the window, right? And I think that is interesting, because in the last few years, we've definitely seen a shift from the allopathic side of things more into the natural, more holistic way. What are you, just from the time that you've been involved in the frequency medicine, what are the shifts you've seen in people? Do you think there's a nice momentum moving in the direction of natural healing, that sort of thing, understanding these things, getting away from the indoctrination of the medical mafia, as I call it?
No, I absolutely agree. And I think that, you know, the people that are searching for alternative methods or holistic means for, you know, things that aren't necessarily what they're told are the only ways for medical practices. You know, now all of a sudden more and more people are starting to discover there are way more things out there that, other than just, you know, what your Western practices are telling you. And so, you know, I see the same type of rising both in the US and pretty much globally. More and more people are starting to resonate with the use of being able to use any type of holistic practice. But specifically, frequencies are something easy to understand, And once people start using these systems, and the proof is in the pudding, and as you saw, your mom's only been using the mini magic for a couple days, and it's shown drastic changes. Imagine what you can do. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If this little thing can do that to my mom, okay, she's a healthy, very healthy 83-year-old. She looks 70 for sure. But I was absolutely blown away. I was so excited to see the shift in her that I was like, I have to know more about this, really,
Yeah.
just from what I've seen. And it's incredible what you're saying, because as you say, this is the way to go. This is the way of the future.
Yep.
Um, and it's healing as well as it's preventative. I can't imagine that it's in harmony with nature.
Well,
It's
and it puts it in
non-invasive.
your own hands. Like you have the
Yeah.
ability to control and take back your own health. And that's what's incredibly unique. Like most people find that, um, again, when all of a sudden, particularly with me, when I started my path and I had those 9 things, I focused dedicated on my number 9 thing until I noticed and felt the difference. And then once I did that, my number 9 turned into my number 8, and my number 8 turned into 7. And I worked my way all the way up the list, right? I don't have any prescriptions. I don't take anything. I'm still a type 1 diabetic, but I'm working on that too, and I think that everything that is potentially wrong with us from a health perspective has a vibrational frequency that you can remove it from the body.
I have just something to add to that, and of course, I've been a healer for many years as well, and I have always said spirit is it's spiritual intelligence versus what we see in the world today versus artificial intelligence. But I've also understood through healing that every part of the body where there's illness is literally, it's an emotional blockage. So
Yes.
it's an emotional um, issue. Let's just call it that for want of a better word now, without going, I don't want to go too much into that. But do you agree that along with the frequency, as you say, you might have diabetes. Now I have an understanding from a healer's perspective, what on an emotional as well as spiritual level creates that. So as a human, we need to be in line with, obviously attuned to the fact that we do create our own illness. We do create our own disease, whether it's genetic, hereditary, or consciously or unconsciously. So when we grasp that understanding along with the frequencies, right? So it kind of works symbiotically. So it's the emotional taking responsibility as well as taking that support for the body. What do you think? Is that important?
That's absolutely important, because just like you're talking about, like these frequencies, programs, the different frequencies themselves can be used to help resonate the things out of the body that naturally, through our own, existence of what we do as each individual person, you're going to have different environmental factors and things like that. But having these frequencies that can resonate certain things out of the body, I honestly believe that when you're working through that and you're removing those things out, that you're also removing those type of emotional blockages that you're talking about. And that helps free up the soul with regards to how you process information, how you shut down and protect yourself in certain situations because of experience, in the past. These heart wall type things that people protect themselves with, you can use frequencies to balance like I said, the offsets of what these problems are. And when you start doing that, just like which has been the case with me, you raise your vibrational frequency. When you remove the threats from the body, all your cells start humming at a much higher level. And when you do that, you stop getting sick. Like the underlying diseases, I haven't been sick in over 4 years.
Yeah.
All through COVID, all through all this other stuff, I haven't been sick at all. Most people are shutting down their immune systems. Me and my wife are giving high fives and hugs at the local store.
Yeah.
Like we
Exactly.
are very positive and outward, people, and we're trying to show people that when you remove all that lower vibrational stuff that's holding you back, you'll come right up too.
Absolutely. It's amazing. I have a last question for you. A detox. I would imagine that once you start using these frequencies in your body, you kind of go through a bit of a detox, right?
Yes.
So maybe you can explain to us what to expect when we start using it, and not to get terrified to think the machine is now making you sick.
Yep.
That's what a lot of people say. This machine is making me sick. I go, no,
No,
it's
and
not.
that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and don't necessarily think of that as being sick. You know, like what you're signaling and what your body is feeling. Royal Rife, the guy who invented all this, said that's the proof that this is working inside the body. You're feeling stuff breaking down and stuff changing. Those frequencies are impacting your body. But just like you mentioned, you know, the detox method is the first step in all of this, making sure that your organs and your main exit ways are all prepped so that as you build, whether they be healing or killing modality focused programs, you're not going to have any bottlenecks. You know, the Spooky2 Terrain protocol is the easiest feature for that. When most people purchase a Spooky2 generator, the first step they're doing is running an 11-day terrain protocol with this and a remote. You hook this up, you simply connect your DNA into this sample, and then when you do that, you start the terrain protocol. And the terrain is designed to kind of rotate all over these different areas of the body, the kidney, the liver, the lymph, the intestines. You know, it's designed to cause the resonance in those areas that's going to break the stuff down. I tell everyone this is the equivalent of taking your kitchen carpet and taking it outside and beating it with the broom. You know, you're knocking all the dust off, you're getting everything prepped and ready, you know, so that as you then jump into the process of creating frequencies specific for your body, you can detox that accordingly, you know. And that's where the terrain, everybody primarily starts with the terrain or some methodology for detoxing, because that's going to help. You know, when you first get these devices, like myself, I was like, oh, I always want to jump right in and I want to learn anything and everything. It's, you know, it's a balanced approach. So make sure you take the time to run that detox first. You know, that way you're not breaking down stuff at a rate faster than the body can keep up with it. Because those symptoms, like what you're talking about, those are known as like a Herxheimer reaction, or often referred to as a healing crisis. What happens is you're targeting different toxins or parasites in the body, and they're releasing these endo and microtoxins. The body all of a sudden goes, whoa, we're not used to this at all. And then all of a sudden it starts signaling inflammation, you know, and so the body is trying to tell you, whoa, we're not used to what's happening here. But all it is designing to kind of help lightly, like I said, it's the dusting off of the kind of getting everything tidied up and ready to go, so that as you go to build programs, now you're rocking.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow, Bradley, it's been such an interesting conversation, and I've loved hearing more about how these incredible machines from Spooky2 work. So I'm wondering, is there anything, I think I've kind of covered the questions I've had for you. So I'm wondering if there's anything from your side that you'd maybe like to just tie up with, you know, for our viewers.
Yep. I'd just like to tell everybody, one, how thankful I am for the opportunity to come on and just to be able to talk to people about what's, you know, the how frequencies work and the Spooky2 systems and how I've used them to not only change my life, but to change others' lives. And like I said, frequency therapy won't resonate with everyone, but those that are curious or interested in it only need try it. And the moment that you do, it will change your life, because like I said, it gave me the freedoms of being able to identify what are the issues in my life and addressing those specifically myself.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much. I found this very enlightening, and I look forward to connecting with you guys again. So if there's anyone that would like to get hold of you, where can we get hold of you? Shall we just be able to contact you through us, through our normal channels?
Yep, you can through there. I'm also, I have a website, like the word frequency. It's www.fre-q.com. That's my website. And I'm also on Telegram at Frequency Healing 101. I have a lot of information that we post in there, just different methods. Like the sky is truly the limit with this type of technology. And so the ability to work with others that have had success doing this or doing that, or, you know, horticulture with frequencies, or again, just like you mentioned, these frequencies work the same with people, with pets, with everyone. So
yes,
you need to notice and see changes in your loved ones. That's what this thing brings to your home.
It's absolutely incredible. And that's what I was saying earlier on. I only have experience of the little mini magic, but I want to tell you just what I've seen with that. Oh, I did have one more question for you, actually.
Sure.
What I wanted to find out is that when people use it, do they need to continue to use it? Or does it heal you over a certain time? Obviously, you have to do stuff as well. I get it. You got to change your diet. You got to take responsibility for your part of the deal. I'm just wanting to know from the frequency perspective. Maybe do we just, let's say you start using it, do you turn it down, start using it less and less?
Yep. And so here's how you identify that. Like one, the body will always kind of signal to you when you're moving in the right direction or when you're not. And the other big fat caveat of this is that in addition to listening to your body, like you have to identify, as I mentioned, are you running healing or killing modality programs and the severity of those? So for example, I've been a diabetic for 37 years. I didn't just jump in day one and be like, oh, I'm trying to cure this thing overnight. It's not going to happen that way, Yeah. But what I have recognized is that as I remove those underlying health issues, now all of a sudden I have healthier cells. I'm working on actually curing my type 1 diabetes. And that's a pathway that I think I can actually achieve using frequency resonance, something that I've had for 37 years that I've been told by multiple doctors is uncurable. Now at 40 plus years old, my diabetes are more in check than they've ever been. My numbers are great. My insulin intake is down. So the methods that you can use for these systems is incredible, but you have to be comfortable and, be willing to go out and experiment to find the right frequencies for you.
I think that's a great idea. And that's why I say it's important to speak to someone like yourself who knows what he's doing and who can obviously guide people in the right direction when it comes to certain things. I love the fact that it's like for literally drug addicts who can have not just physical ailments, minor ailments, major ailments, mental issues, addictions. Exactly. Yes. I love that.
And like I said, you can use this thing for anything. It's just identifying the right path that you need to take. Are you healing? Are you killing? And the means for how you apply those frequencies to the body.
Absolutely. Wow. I look forward to the day our hospitals finally embrace this and our rehabs finally embrace this, and everything that has to do with imbalanced health, put it that way. We'll discover this really, because I think it's an incredible tool that you guys have made available for us. And I really wish
your own health. Once you make that decision and you're ready to go, these are the machines and the devices that I use to change my life and control my health. There's nothing specific about what I'm doing. Everyone can have the exact same successes that I've had. There's nothing secretive.
Indeed. I absolutely agree. Our bodies are so incredible. They are so forgiving. Even if you've really abused our bodies, they really are so forgiving. And the minute we decide to change our ways, the universe opens up pathways for us to find people like yourself and others that can really help us to the path of healing. And, we really deserve good health. It's our birthright. Honestly, it's our birthright to be healthy and living in God's divine grace. Thank you so much, Bradley. Really, really, really enjoyed our conversation today. And I will definitely ask you to come back in the future again. So I look forward to that.
Again, thank you guys so much for having me. I look forward to any opportunities down the road. Anybody that needs help or just guidance with regards to how to work, order, whatever you need, please feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. Just to repeat your website, it's www.fre.2/2.com.
Q.
And
the word frequency, FRE-Q.
Q. Sorry. Okay. We will put that in our chat so our viewers can get a hold of you if they need to. And look forward to having you back in the future. And I want to just say really a great shout out to Spooky2. You guys have been our sponsor for the month of November. Had really great feedback from our viewers. I've had lots of emails from people in the past that have just said they're really happy once they've purchased your product. I know what I've seen. It's an amazing product. So take the step. You never know what the future could hold for you. It's just incredible, really. God bless you, Bradley. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
God bless you all. Please give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. Share this video, please. This is such important information, and for everyone to know. Thank you so, so much. And take care, everybody. Mwah. Cherry buys.